This is Karangahape Road, central Auckland. Most people call it K Road. My name is Six. For many years, K Road was my home. I was homeless. Now I publish the K Road Chronicle, a newspaper that gives street people their own voice. In the Chronicle, we list different places you can get a community meal. This includes a weekly event called Sunday Blessings. This week, alongside Good Kai, they're also providing vital services for the street community. One of the founders of this awesome initiative is Danielle. Today, she and her son James are collecting unsold items from a popular Auckland bakery.
All of these are filled with amazing things like this that would have ended up in the waste, it would have ended up in landfill if it wasn't for, you know, the community-led organisations offering things like this. This is nothing on what's about to get unloaded.
Well, if that's nothing, we'll just take that over.
Yeah, you can take it. It just gets better and better. Yeah, so Bluebells, the owners are just amazing. They do this because they want to make sure that their surplus doesn't harm the planet, really, and hungry bellies don't go without food.
Danielle's commitment to Sunday Blessings comes from her own personal experience. There was a stretch in jail for some bad decisions she made when she was younger. After this, she found herself homeless, raising 2 young boys. It's bloody hard work being homeless.
Yeah.
It's hard work being poor, and you can testify to that.
Yeah. It's and the shame that we felt because, again, we demonise poor people and the ridicule that we go through.
I must be a bad person.
Yeah, and you start to believe it. And then, obviously, the psychological barriers that come into that, and you're wanting to break out of it, but you've got all these psychological barriers.
Danielle has managed to completely turn her life around. She has completed a law degree at Auckland University of Technology and is currently going through the process of being admitted to the bar. Through her studies, Danielle learnt that all in Aotearoa have a legal right to food.
We recognise that this is an ambulance at the bottom of the cliff service. I mean, morally, we know that food is a human right. We know that food waste being down here and food insecurity being up here is just idiotic. We are actually all about structural change. Food is actually an affirmed human right under international human rights framework. So, yeah, we are pushing back against the government in terms of structural change, but I also, on the other hand, believe that our community can rise up against this social issue whilst we wait for laws to catch up.
You've really pulled yourself up by the bootstraps. I mean, how old were you when you enrolled at AUT?
Well, so I've tried to study 4 times before I was at AUT, but unfortunately I couldn't afford a home, I couldn't afford food. There was a time where I couldn't afford nappies. The first time I tried to do law, we were in Wellington, and my power was getting cut off constantly, and I'd be in a law lecture, legal systems lecture down there, and I'd be running to go and meet a power company person to try and turn it on and do some sort of deal. I went down a road where I was probably escaping from the stress of life, and it wasn't great. You know, there's a lot of background where I really made a lot of really poor decisions. We were homeless off and on for a few years when I was still doing Sunday Blessings when we first started it, okay? Whilst I kept
So when you started, you were still homeless yourself?
Well, we were transient, I guess you could say, and then for 12 weeks we were in a camper van. Like, poverty and having a stable and secure home, it doesn't, you know, getting a home, that doesn't mean it's all over. That doesn't mean you're there for good and that all your problems are solved, okay?
It's a starting point.
It's a starting point.
James, I just want to ask you, during those tough times, how was that for you and your brother?
I was pretty little, so I remember once we went to, like, this home thing. Yeah.
The backpackers he's talking about? Yeah.
I just thought it was fun. I didn't really notice because I was little.
Is that because your mum's so awesome?
Yeah, I was just having fun the whole time.
But what did we do? Do you remember what we did? Because for me, it was not fun. The shame
I can imagine.
And the paranoia I felt and the absolute devastation that I'd let myself and my family down. But what did we do? Do you remember the game?
Yeah, we jumped through the window back and forth and acted like ninja.
Ninja. This week, Danielle is organising much more than just food.
This is the games area. Games is going to be played in the middle here. It's super cool. Encouraging connection. Don't throw them like that either, bud. Cool.
Sunday Blessings has grown as a whole range of individuals and community organisations have joined in. Local MP Chloe Schwarbrook takes a strong interest in the work and has got to know Danielle well through it. So tell me about Danielle. How did you guys come together? What was that process?
It was when I first interacted with this kaupapa at the beginning of 2022 when Omicron was turning up. And it became really clear that were we to see a volunteer team at Sunday Blessings, for example, hit by COVID outbreak, then the service was at risk of falling over. So that's when we started collaborating to form the Omicron Resilience Team. And out of that, kind of when you have different groups working together like Student Volunteer Army and obviously the infrastructure that Sunday Blessings has spent so long working on, and then you've got Community Kai on Tuesday nights as well, that we need to scale this stuff up and we need to bed it in.
Danielle's amazing.
She's incredible, eh?
We need to clone her.
Yeah, totally, make her Prime Minister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was your job.
No, absolutely not. I'm too controversial, Six.
You just need to put the bags out and just put them everywhere on the table all around them. Okay. We need to leave at least 4 meals as well for the wardens. So we'll leave those over here. Vegetarian ones we can have on here. A bread roll needs to go in each of them, and one of them.
I just can sometimes feel really deflated because in, the parliamentary debating chamber, you've got everybody delivering Shakespearean soliloquies and it feels so detached from reality. Poverty doesn't exist there, climate change doesn't exist there, biodiversity crises don't exist there. But then you come back out into the world and, you reconnect with community and you see that things are shifting and changing, and that's why I love investing my time and energy here. But whenever I feel really cynical and upset and angry, I'll go back to something which I said in my maiden speech. It's actually to change people's understanding of what politics is, because we think politics is the waffly stuff that people in suits do, but it's not. It's about power and it's about resources. And if we can invert that and help people within our community realise the power that they hold in sheer numbers, then we change everything.
Changing attitudes can be found in unlikely places. Supermarkets like the great equaliser, eh? It's like regardless of where you are in society. I joined Danielle earlier in the day to collect more food that would otherwise be thrown out. We met up with Ashley, the manager of St John's Countdown. I think this is great because a lot of times when our supermarkets are in the media, it's because everyone said, they're ripping us off, they're making far too many profits. But this kind of cuts into your profits, doesn't it? I mean, this is a social service. It looks like all good stuff, though.
It's perfectly good stuff. So something that has bruising on it like that, we wouldn't sell to the customer, but we would still consume it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we do is we pop it in here and then we let other people consume it. And so Countdown St John's is the first store that's going to be zero food waste to landfill.
I'm impressed. Yeah. This is my impressed face.
We can acknowledge that we have massive systemic issues, but the reality is that right now all that stuff seems super esoteric and abstract to people who are going to be hungry tonight. So to fill the gap, we have to create community-based grassroots organisations that are going to respond to that immediate need. And the coolest thing that you get out of mobilising to ensure that people go home fed, and hopefully to a home as well, is that we can touch base with people who have totally different life experiences to us. We can start to understand their perspective and therefore start to build this community, which then showcases the power that we have to do the systemic change in the longer term.
Do you think we're moving in the right direction?
I think that whenever I feel cynical and angry, I get back boots on the ground into the electorate and I see people like Danny who are doing this mahi. I see you hawking the Road Chronicles. That's the stuff that gives me so much hope, because that's where you see the sparks of people's lives changing.
Yeah.
If you want a perfect example of resilience in this country, talk to the streeties about the stuff that they've been through, and you will not hear greater stories of courage and of bravery and of resilience and of getting through it.
You're funny!
But you've got to keep in mind that when you've been unhoused, I've got this whole new set of energy in life because I don't have to struggle like that anymore. I've finally got a car that I own. I can finally pay for petrol, although that's becoming a problem. I finally have a home that I've been in for more than a year. We've been in there like a year and a half. And Now, honestly, it's community. It's like I am finally proud of who I am, and I love my family, and I love the mum that I'm still growing to become, I guess.
You proud of your mum, Tabs?
Yeah.
What are you going to do when you leave school?
I don't know. Maybe become a lawyer.
Right.
Mom says I'm good at arguing.